Michael Hopkins, who was going to give the speech, is also, they've got some other function on which they have to be at. So Fiona will talk first. Fiona is at the Policy and Communication in the Department of Transport, Planning and Local Infrastructure, and has responsibility for broad transport policy, including the promotion of active transport. Her academic background is in economics and public policy. Today she'll be talking about the Victorian cycling strategy and its supporting action plan. But she will have to go immediately after her talk. So please welcome her. Just use the arrows.
Thanks, Nick. I'm sorry we won't be able to stay to take any questions later on, but if anyone does have any questions and would like to pass them on to Nick or to the ITE, we'd be very happy to follow up after the session. The Victorian Cycling Strategy was released in December last year, and it sets direction for cycling for the state of Victoria for the next 10 years. It's a plan to grow and support cycling and to position Victoria as Australia's most bike-friendly state. The cycling strategy differs from previous strategies in that it tries to bring together all forms of cycling and to cover all of Victoria. So its interest is not just in cycling as a form of transport, but cycling as a tourism activity, as a form of recreation, and as a form of exercise. The strategy identifies, therefore, a range of different benefits from cycling, and it tries to position itself around all of these as things that cycling can help the state to achieve and support other directions and other strategies that the state government has put in place or is developing. So importantly, those 4 different areas of benefits that can come from cycling, including improving the well-being or the health of Victorians, making parts of the state better places to live, supporting a stronger economy and generating jobs through that, particularly in relation to the potential for cycling tourism, and contributing to a healthier environment. The strategy identifies 6 strategic directions which are intended to set the framework for future actions by the Victorian government over the next 10 years. And each of those sit into this sort of pyramid that we've identified, you can see here on the slide. At the base of that pyramid is the need to inform decisions. And I guess the first direction going alongside that of building the evidence that we need to provide a stronger base to make more informed decisions is kind of one of the key things that we feel that is needed in the cycling arena to allow us to move from perhaps you might say an ad hoc and a system that's not informed as well by quantified and detailed analyses as some other areas of transport in particular might be, but also other areas of activity within the Victorian community. We're also very conscious that in putting forward the strategy and in its development, consultations with local government in particular, but also with stakeholder groups in the cycling community, indicated that there are, and I guess it was no surprise, but we found there were significant issues that make it very hard to deliver cycling projects. And that it's streamlining those processes, enhancing the governance systems that sit behind activity that we undertake in the state government, and in particular bringing it together to have a more coordinated approach across the state government would be an important area of focus for the strategy to go forward. So there the direction is to enhance governance and streamline processes so that we can clarify accountability, improve coordination, planning and delivery of cycling in initiatives. And I guess that those 2 strategic directions together form the basis of being able to move forward then with some of the broader directions that the strategy sets out. And those directions relate to reducing safety risks, encouraging cycling, growing the cycling economy, and planning networks and prioritising investments. I think I won't, given that we've got such limited time, I won't go into details about each of those, but I would encourage you to look at the strategy and to think for yourselves around some of the areas that you believe might need to have some focus in those as we move forward and move beyond the initial action plans. All of those directions are intended to work towards an overall objective of growing and supporting cycling participation to improve wellbeing of Victorians, provide better places to live, grow jobs, support a stronger economy and contribute to a healthier environment. So those directions are meant to support those benefits that cycling can bring to the Victorian community. There are, I guess, the strategy is also positioned around some of the key factors that we think that are worthy of bringing to people's attention, and in particular I'd note the very large number of Victorians who ride a bike in any typical week, and the significant proportion of the community who ride a bike at least sometime during each year. It is a very significant proportion of the Victorian community. So we're not talking about a small niche of people who like to wear lycra and participate in significant cycling events. We're talking about an activity that's really relevant to almost the majority of Victorians, and we'd like to get it to that position through some of the initiatives in the cycling strategy. But there is a long way to go for Victoria. If you compare where we are to other places around the world, there is significant potential for growth. And we would like to be addressing that, and our aim would be to move towards some of those countries, the position that some of the countries at the right-hand side of this chart are in. There is an action plan that sets out, accompanies the strategy and sets out actions for the first 2 years of activity. And the focus of that action plan is very much on building those foundations around better information to provide a stronger evidence base, and around streamlining processes and improving governance. The government is also committed to a significant number of network improvements and support for events and other activity as well, and I'll leave you to quickly read through the list. In announcing the strategy, and I guess this project I wanted to highlight because of its nature as much as because of its significance and the funding that it provided. The Darebin Creek Trail linked to the Yarra Trail is one of the big issues for the state that's been under development for a very long time, and it's great to see that we might be able to finally progress it.
Well done, Fiona.